Hello. Welcome to Let's Talk Immigration. It's Wednesday, so that means let's talk immigration, right? I have a few updates of the millions of things that are going on in the immigration world. Um, and then I could take your questions if you want to drop them in the comments. I'll see them, or my team will put them to where I could see them. Um, also, on Telegram, I've dropped a link if you, as an experiment, to see if you want to ask your questions on screen with me. That's an option too. Okay. Um, First thing, we had a couple wins on Monday, and I want to discuss them because it's not every day that you beat the government, and it's good that we beat the government twice uh, on the first day of the week, right? Um, I discussed these yesterday on my show with Farshad. Um, this, let me see which one this is here. Okay, this was a lawsuit for an AP delay that we filed in August, and the interview was in March of 2024, and the State Department did a motion to dismiss, like they do more than half the time, right? This is not a surprise. This is part of the process. We opposed the motion to dismiss, and on Monday, the judge issued an order denying the government's motion to dismiss. So now the lawsuit continues. The State Department does not like lawsuits to continue. So a lot of times this is where we see the magic. I don't think we've seen the magic yet. It's been Monday to Wednesday, but hopefully in the coming days, we're going to see progress on this visa application. The other win is a little bit more complicated, but it's actually a bigger win. We have a policy challenge in a lawsuit that we filed. I got upset. Our team got upset because we kept seeing Secretary Blinken did not use the allotted number of family preference visa category visas. So you see everybody in line and everybody's upset about the line and they're frustrated that it takes 20 years to get an F4 visa or 10 years to get an F1 or F2B or 3 or 4 years to get an F2A. Everyone's upset about that, but nobody's attacking the cause. And the cause, in my view and our team's view, was the State Department was wasting these visas and not even using them, not even trying to use them. They've tried a little bit harder since we started suing them over it. This is the first lawsuit that we sued them on, but we've sued them 4 more times since then on this one issue. It's called visa wastage, is what we call it. So this is the first lawsuit we sued them on. We filed the lawsuit in November of 2023, more than a year ago. The judge dismissed the lawsuit in May of 2024. We appealed that order, and in September, the embassy interviewed our plaintiff, but the plaintiff went in AP. Well, the government went and filed something with the court and said, hey, this appeal is moot because you got the interview and this was about interviews. And we opposed that motion. And yesterday, the court denied the government's motion and saying, hey, this appeal is continuing. Sorry, government, you don't get your way today. So that was good. That's what wins look like in litigation. Okay. So many of you all want to talk about travel bans and executive orders. I've already talked extensively about travel bans. Has it been a week? Oh my gosh, last week, but I'll do an overview. Okay. Basically, Trump did issue a bunch of orders on his first day, but he did not issue a travel ban on the first day. Instead, what he did is he issued an order collecting the information he needs to issue a travel ban that survives judicial scrutiny. So we know that he's collecting information from other people in the government about the countries that are not sharing information with the US. So we expect on March 21st or after, we will see a travel ban as strong or stronger, when I say stronger, more stringent, worse, causing worse outcomes for people and barriers and obstacles than what we saw in his first term. And we will see that on March 21st or after. So let me stop there and say that means if you have a visa printed in your passport and you're not in the United States, call an Uber right now and go to the airport and get on a plane and come to the United States. Because after he does the ban, it doesn't matter if you have a sticker in your passport. Doesn't matter. He has the authority to issue an entry ban. So even people with issued visas cannot enter the U.S. if there's an entry ban. Okay. It's under Section 212F of the Immigration Nationality Act. So let me talk about one more thing about this order that's interesting. He hinted in the language that the countries that they decide for the next travel ban, that they're going to go back and look to see who came in the Biden administration from those countries. We know that Iran is going to be one of these countries. We know that probably Yemen and Somalia, probably Russia and Venezuela, that there's some obvious countries, but who knows what they're going to do. What he hinted in his order, it was more than a hint, it was like strong language, is that they are going to look retroactively at people that have entered the U.S. since Biden was president, that was from one of those countries. Well, it's crazy because some of those folks have green cards. Some of them are U.S. citizens. Some of them are serving in the military right now. So it is a little crazy, but he's a little crazy. They're a little crazy. Yesterday, he issued an order stopping federal funding, congressional funding and aid and student loans and everything across the entire government. And it was only today, it went before a judge, and the judge and then right before the judge issued an order, the government did what's called voluntary cessation, where they said, okay, we revoked the order. But then the press secretary tweeted that it wasn't really a revocation while the oral arguments were still going on. And the judge said, well, since they can't make up their mind, I'm going to go ahead and issue an injunction against that memo from yesterday, against the memo. So there's an injunction against that. Basically, judges are going to be very busy fighting the lawlessness of this regime. Okay. So what else have we seen? We've seen another executive order regarding birthright citizenship. Okay. This order has not gone into effect yet, and it doesn't go into effect February 20th. February. Oh no, I can't remember the day in February. It was 30 days from the day it was issued. So, but a judge has already issued an injunction, a temporary injunction on that order. That order is crazy. It says that if you're born in the U.S., but one of your parents is not a U.S. citizen, or a green card holder, then you are not a U.S. citizen. You only get U.S. citizenship if one of your parents is a U.S. citizen or green card holder. Well, obviously, there are millions of families in the U.S. that are H1, that are here legally, actually, H1B, seeking asylum. There are people here on TPS, not as many as of this morning. Many non-immigrant visa categories, F1 students, J1 researchers, and their babies should be U.S. citizens if they're born here. Okay? That's the way the law has always been. So that is a fight that's going to continue in the courts, and hopefully the Trump administration loses. My team really wants to do a lawsuit about that, but at the same time, we don't want to waste our time doing it if it looks like the other attorneys have it taken care of. Okay, the other lawsuits, and there are many other lawsuits on this. There's one in New Hampshire. The one that the judge issued the order on was, I believe, in Washington State, and then that's been consolidated with another case, and then there's briefing going on in that case now. Okay, so let's go on to the next thing here. Birthright citizenship still wrapped up in the courts, but so far Trump's not doing great because they've issued an injunction on that order, a temporary injunction. Okay. Today, the Trump administration rescinded TPS, temporary protective status, for Venezuelans. That is going to create a crisis for thousands of Venezuelans who are in the U.S., and they're going to be scrambling to figure that out. And I have not seen yet, I haven't been on the internet all day, so I have not seen yet if a lawsuit is working on that, challenging that, but I expect that there will be a lawsuit challenging that decision also. Also today, Trump announced that he wants to convert Guantanamo Bay to a 30,000 bed facility. What he's really wanting is to make it a camp for them to send migrants before they remove them to places other than where they go, okay, where they're from. There's lots of reasons for that. Some countries do not take migrants back, and some folks really don't have a place to go. They've been chased their whole lives, and I mean, some of them were probably from what Israel now calls Israel, and Israel is not going to let people come back who nope, that's not what they're going to do. So anyway, Guantanamo Bay was a place that's invented so that the Bush administration could torture people and violate their human rights, because it's harder to get lawyers there. It's harder to get court supervision there. I mean, if for those on the other part of the world, Guantanamo Bay is actually part of the island of Cuba. Okay, it's weird that it's even part of the U.S., but so we do not anticipate that being a good thing. That is a bad thing. This facility has been used to violate people's human rights, and so for what Trump wants to do, he's like, oh, that's an excellent facility for what I want to do. Well, okay. Crazy times. Okay. Surprised I'm not seeing any questions here. Oh, yes, I forgot one. My team has reminded me of something else Trump did today. But I don't see the order for it. Apparently, he's canceled student visas for pro-Palestinian protesters. Not great. And the funny thing is, he's got Elon Musk there beside him saying, oh, we're going to be the freedom of speech party. It's like, yeah, freedom of speech. I mean, you're wanting to crack down on protesters, and he's only been president for 9 days. News. For those that don't know, the White House has a website, whitehouse.gov, and you could go there and go to news, and then don't go to fact sheets because they're not actually facts here. It's fiction. Presidential actions is what you have to be scared of. And this is where he does this crazy shit. He signed S5 into law. Okay, I don't know what S5 is. Let's look at this together. Oh, the Lake and Riley Act. Okay. So the Lake and Riley Act is going to prioritize removal of folks in the United States that are accused of a crime over violent criminals. Okay. So let's say there is a undocumented person who committed a violent crime. Under the Biden administration, they would be prioritized for removal. Under the Trump administration, they are no longer prioritized for removal because instead we're look at this with theft. They're going. It's people that rob the Walgreens store. They're going to prioritize the removal of just your everyday person that slipped up and committed a crime. They're not going to prioritize the removal of violent criminals because that's how they are. Okay. Oh, and there's the order about Guantanamo Bay. So that's a thing. Check and see if I have any. Oh my gosh. Every one of these crazy stuff. Friggin' clowns. I don't completely disagree with this one. The Iron Dome from America. I think every country needs one of those. And that way, if there's missiles flying off, the ding, 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 and the missiles go away. I think we give everybody an Iron Dome. Should be one great big Iron Dome. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about his executive orders anymore. I see I don't have any questions today, which is great. I think a lot of people are still in shock. Too much shock to have questions. I did have one question on Telegram, on Twitter that someone retweeted, so I guess it had value. So I want to talk about that real quick. The question I keep getting is, "Hey, I'm a dual national. I'm half Iranian and half French, or half Iranian, or not half, but I'm Iranian and Turkish, or Iranian and Malaysia, or something like that. Does this mean Trump's forthcoming travel ban would I be exempt from that?" Technically, in the first Trump administration, the ban that impacted Iranians give an exclusion for, and Iranians and others, give an exclusion for dual nationals. It said, oh, okay, well, yeah, you could use your other nationality to get around that. But in practice, what happened was if you were chargeable to Iran, you were born in Iran, you were still subjected to enhanced security vetting, enhanced national security vetting. And what that means is the consular officer collected a DS-5535 from you after the interview. They collected your responses, and then they did a request for a security advisory opinion. During the Trump administration, they would email countries-of-concern.state.gov. That's how they would submit their request for I hope that they still don't use that system, for a security advisory opinion. So you were still subjected to a security advisory opinion request. And that's what causes a lot of problems. It's caused a lot of problems now. It caused a lot of problems during the Biden administration. Security advisory opinion requests, 10% of them take 2 years or more. And there were 61,000 pending as of April, and like 37 analysts assigned to handle them. Okay. They're completed at 2 different facilities, though. Immigrant visas at the SAC office in Washington, D.C. Non-immigrant visas are done at the National Vetting Center in Sterling, Virginia. They say that eventually immigrant visas are going to be done in Sterling, Virginia, too, but I haven't heard anything about that. If you have heard something about that and you want to leak that to me, let me know. So, sorry, getting back to the question, that big advantage you have with the dual nationality where like you get out of the ban, still subject to the national security vetting. And if you were subject to the ban, there are 3 prongs, and the hardest one to qualify for a waiver, 3 prongs to qualify for a waiver during the first travel ban. And the hardest one was the national security vetting. Okay. So if you can acquire a second nationality, it's always a good idea for mobility. And it may be helpful with overcoming a Trump obstacle, but it's not a golden ticket. Okay. I got a question from Mona. I think she asked a question yesterday. If the judge decides to reject the government's motion to dismiss, okay, they'd be called denied. Does the lawsuit continue with the same time frame? Okay, the lawsuit continues. When you say the same time frame, I don't know what time frame you mean, because the lawsuit just continues. Okay, if the judge, when this happens a lot actually, when the judge denies the government's motion to dismiss, the next thing that happens is in the next 14 days after that, the government has to file an answer to the complaint. Okay, and then the next stage of a lawsuit is discovery, but when it's a mandamus action, usually what we do is administrative record, where the government has to produce administrative record, and then we can go to summary judgment briefing. So lawsuits take a long time, but our goal is not to win the lawsuit. Our goal is not to like hang in on for the long haul on that. Our goal is to get the visas, get the final visa decisions, and get out. Right? Okay. The 60-day window, are they able to ask for extension? The 60-day window doesn't make sense after the motion to dismiss, because the 60 days is the motion to dismiss. Okay, so the government has 60 days from the time you file a complaint to file a responsive pleading. Responsive pleading can be an answer or a motion to dismiss. If the 60 days comes and they file a motion to dismiss, we're no longer talking about the 60 days. The 60 days is gone, okay? We're at a new phase of the lawsuit. Great question, though. Okay, so thank you for the question. Hang in there, everybody. Take care of your loved ones and check in on them, especially if they have an immigration status that they're worried about, because there's a lot of stress going on right now. Okay. If you need me, you can hit me up on Telegram. Usually takes me a day or two to get back with you. Email, usually within 24 hours. Or you can try me on the phone, and I try to answer it if I'm available. Okay? Everybody take care.